Saturday. Christmas comes early.
Unbelievable! Welcome to this incredible scene.
Bills.
To the end zone!
Chargers.
It's a touchdown!
An exclusive NFL game.
That's fantastic!
Live in primetime.
Wow!
Only on Peacock.
With a Christmas gift to their fans. They're having some fun now.
Bills versus Chargers. Saturday, 7:30 Eastern. Exclusively on Peacock.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great night to be a Dallas sports fan. Welcome to Pod Mavericks Mavs Party. The Dallas Mavericks just defeated the Brooklyn Nets about an hour ago, 125-120. And then within a few minutes ago, the Texas Rangers just defeated the Arizona Diamondbacks in the 11th inning on a walk-off home run. What a freaking night for sports. I'm having a great time. This is the second one of these shows of the regular season. And if you're new here, there is a pinned link. And if you don't see it, please tell me in the comments. I'll just post it again, where you can join our show live, come up here, talk a little basketball. Let's just have some fun because it's supposed to be fun. And the Mavericks are 2-0, and I'm in a pretty good mood despite being a little bit worried because, hey, what are sports if something not to overreact to in a ridiculous manner? While you're here, if you would mind smashing that like button, that would help me a great deal, and consider subscribing, but I'll probably make that pitch multiple times throughout the night because I cannot help myself. Coming up first, we have a regular and long, often come up guest. It is our guy, Brian, who has a professional looking background here, so we know he's for real. Brian, welcome to the show tonight. Hit that unmute button and tell me what's going on.
Brother, this
How you
is a
feel?
frustrating ass game. Oh my God.
Okay. What? So my initial inclination to all this stuff as a sports fan is to like be pissed even when we win, but I'm trying really hard to not do that yet. And so I left that game and left the conversation with Josh. Like, I feel a little better, but I'm still pretty like, holy cow, why does Luka always have to be amazing for us to win these games? So what are you thinking right now?
Right now, I am thinking what possible combination we could get in return if we just put Tim and Maxey on a rocket and just blast them into the solar system somewhere. Like, I am so sick of Tim Hardaway and his shot jacking, dude, because like he's vital to the team when they go in, right? But then when they stop, he doesn't know he's gone cold. So he just keeps shooting and keeps breaking the flow of the
Like
offense.
if he hits two more shots throughout the whole game, I really think that changes the course of the game. But he was so fucking cold that it became like it was nervous. It was like the Mavericks are better than the Nets, at least particularly without some of the players they're missing tonight. God, what's their center's name?
Nick Claxton.
Nick
Claxton and Cam Johnson.
No, Cam played.
No, Cam Thomas played. Cam Johnson was out.
Yeah. Sorry, two Cams.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really something to just watch how nervous the game got twice, 2, 3, 4 times. Like they were up by a few points in the second quarter, and then there was a pass to Grant Williams. It soared through his hands out of bounds. And then the very next play, Derrick Jones Jr. had an opportunity to dunk, and they turned it over. And like that was, to me, that was 5 points. And it's like there are points in a game where you can break a team's will. And the Mavericks were on the other end of that a couple of times. Like Kyrie Irving brought the Mavs back from almost like annihilation by scoring those 6 straight points in the fourth quarter. But it's like that second quarter thing I was just talking about. The Mavericks could have won the game right then. I really feel this way. They're better.
Kyrie
than
wasn't
Nets.
running straight into a brick wall and then just like not getting any foul call.
No,
and then just
this
getting
year he's not
discouraged
gotten
and
calls.
and not shooting.
Mhm.
But that's the thing. Like he didn't get the calls, but then he just got discouraged and stopped shooting altogether. He was passing ball to Tim Hardaway and letting Tim decide how the offense was going to go. And I was like, I don't
The
know.
Kyrie of it all. People,
I'm gonna give him grace though.
Well, and I think that's
Surely.
important because, like, and I always, you'll laugh at this. There's like those 3 or 4 accounts that clip every single Kyrie related thing, and if they don't like it, they'd be like, "You." They've come at me a couple of times over the years, so I'm always like really careful. But what I like about Kyrie, and I mean this earnestly, I don't think he's forcing anything, and so the shots just aren't going. And as I told Josh, I'm like, look, if they get minimal more contributions from Tim Hardaway and from Kyrie, a couple more made baskets apiece, that game doesn't need Luka to be Superman. He just had to do it anyway.
Well, I mean, like, and so this is where the Tim thing comes back, because I don't think if Tim just wasn't out there at all, like we could have manufactured the 19 points somewhere else. If he just wasn't out there at all, if that was Seth instead, if that was Hardy instead, if that was, I don't know about Josh's, Exum, if that was Dante Exum instead, I think we get those points anyway. And not only do we get them, we get Kyrie able to get himself going a bit easier because he doesn't like give the ball up and then be absolutely certain that it's not coming back to him because the second Tim touches it, he's going to shoot it. Like we don't have to worry about shit like that if Tim isn't on the floor.
Right.
Frustrated at him being on the court because it's like, dog, you can't treat this dude like a vet. He's got to have a quick hook, like he's at the Apollo, because he misses 2 shots in a row. He's going cold. It's fuck because he's not offering you anything really on defense. He can't get inside and score from 2-point range. God, he showed you that in this game.
Were you watching the end of the show Josh and I just did?
Oh yeah.
So that I've watched that clip that Mate Sport Info over there in Slovenia posted like 30 times since. I just like that's high school stuff.
They could have thrown the ball off the back of his head and he wouldn't have known.
It's Tim is just, he giveth and he taketh away, and we're surviving. We're surviving is what I keep coming back to.
Somehow it's just him with all of that. Kids still leaning on Maxey as some like plus defensive guy when Maxey just doesn't have it as a 5 anymore. Maybe as a 4, there's still some juice there, but he's got to be in limited minutes. But the Lively decision, I don't get. And like Mavs draft was just on Twitter. A guy whose opinion I respect and who I think genuinely knows what he's talking about. He was on Twitter defending. He was like, "Look, I don't see why this is controversial." Derek Lively.
Who was saying that? I'm sorry.
Mavs Magic draft on Twitter.
Yeah, no, yeah. Of course, he would.
Yeah, I like dude, but he was like, "Yeah, I don't see what the problem is. Any coach makes that decision."
If Dwight wasn't scoring, no, I don't agree, because if Dwight wasn't scoring, that's all we talk about. But Dwight was scoring, and Dwight does do the best of his ability. But like, why do you draft Lively at that spot? Because you think he can do the things that you need him to do, including defend in space.
He did it in the first half.
Yes.
He was the best paint defender and the best perimeter defender in the first half.
I think there's something to what Josh Bose said where he's like, look, he was out for a long time and he just didn't want to put him back in cold. And I think there's something to that, because I've talked often about how it's important that rookies get a chance to develop in positive situations. You don't want to put him back out there to hose him when they're in a tough spot.
Yeah, by the end of the game, it was too late. But we come back to I'm like, all right, I don't see him the entire third quarter. I'm already pissed, but I'm like, you know what? That's okay. He's young, so he didn't really need it, but maybe kid is saving his legs for the fourth quarter, a long fourth quarter stretch. They start the fourth quarter. Maxey as the lone big, almost threw my TV out of my fucking window.
That was terrible. Kyrie was the reason we stayed in it for Luka Magic, because they were down 7. And I was like, oh, fucking no. It was 104-97. And I was sitting there telling my wife, I'm like, I'd already pre-written about like 300 words. Like I had a whole section.
I saw that.
I'm like, I need to know why kid is doing this. Like, someone please ask. And frankly, I'm glad to not have to really address it. It's just, I really believe that Lively's capable of defending in space because he did it. And so don't tell me it's about going small. Like then you're admitting that Dwight Powell is small is what you're actually doing. Like, so you're admitting you have this small line. It's like, don't tell me that. Like a true small ball lineup is Dorian Finney-Smith at the 5, which is what the Nets were doing.
Like if you're saying if you really want to combat like a small ball lineup, then the way that you would prove that is okay. Grant, you're playing
at 5. That's right. So it's like don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining, Mavericks.
Right. That shit didn't make sense at all. I can't believe he tried that, and I can't believe the people in that media room I can't believe it, but they let that fly.
Well, it worked.
I'm just like,
it worked. We're the a lot of fans, and this is what they hate about me. They hate about Mavs Moneyball. It's like, why can't you just be happy? And it's like, I am happy. I'm delighted, but we don't want to sit here and say in 4 games, let's say the Mavericks go on a skid. We at least want to be looking at what plays into those things. I like basketball, not just like the process is as interesting to me as the result.
Man, Luka had to play like 88 Jordan for us to beat a lottery team that didn't have 2 of its starters. What the fuck are we? Of course, people can be upset about this. Like, I'm excited for the win. I'm excited I got to watch that game. He played amazing, but my God in heaven, there were some awful decisions made, like with up and down.
We're not playing deep enough into the roster. Like I thought, maybe it's because we played 2 funky groups in a row. The Spurs and the Nets both have kind of weird groups of people. They're not like, neither one is what you would consider a traditional basketball team. But the fact that we've not gone deeper into the bench, we only saw Curry for 9 minutes and he didn't look great. We only saw Exum for 4 minutes and he had a breakaway dunk. There's no Rashawn Holmes, no Prosper, no Hardy. And I want to see some of this. We've seen different mix-ups of the same group, but as Josh and I talked about, what is Derrick Jones Jr. giving you to where he's earned this starting spot?
And that's the thing, man. Because like when Exum got out there for the few minutes he was there, he was good. He was attentive on defense. He was shooting his threes when he was supposed to. He didn't make any, but he got out in transition. Yeah. He got in the lane. He got fouled. He got a breakaway dunk in transition. Like he was doing everything that you needed to see from him in order to say, okay, this guy's playing really well. He needs to close his game for us because he's not fucking this up for us. And we went right back to Tim and Derrick Jones Jr. God bless him, Derrick Jones Jr. I feel like he's really being hung out to dry because it's like, man, he was getting spun around like a fucking Beyblade out there. We may as well have had Omax out there if we had Josh jumping around every time somebody flicked their air, jumping 3 feet in the air trying to contest a shot, and like just not really being able to control his spastic. Like he had one of those rookie year games where he's just jumping at everything. Right. That really, really pissed me off. And man, Omax could have went out there and did that.
Sure.
So it was just a lot. But we beat 2 teams we were supposed to. And I will say that's one positive we could take away from this game. That we lost 29 clutch games last year.
Every game was a clutch game, and every game hurt me.
And it had to start evening out eventually.
That's true.
And it's starting to now. And that is we're
gonna lose some where it's a 50-50 game.
Of course. Too. But the fact that we're already winning some of these games that last year certainly would have been losses, that bodes well for our chances to, rather than being a 10 seed, be closer to 8-7-6, right? Yep. So I'll take that, and I'll take Lively's first half performance, and I'll take this Luka game, and I'll go home with that.
Well, you're the man for kicking us off. Thanks so much for hanging out, Brian.
Thanks for having me, bro.
All right. All right. So now we got, we have a full waiting room. This is what happens when I start chatting with my friends here. All sorts of people down there, all sorts of familiar names and some new names. I love this. All right. So let's try to fly through, folks, because I don't want to go for 90 minutes tonight. If you guys don't mind, I want to go to bed. But I do love talking to y'all. So let's have some fun. So Chris Haley, thanks so much for joining once again. How you doing?
Good. Just got back from the game, and that was nuts.
So for folks who don't know, Chris travels 3 to 4 hours to go to these games live. He's a real diehard, and then he joins this show. He's a true diehard. So what's your observations? What are you thinking?
Well, first off, I didn't get my celebratory Waffle House post-game win, but I got some Mickey D's. So I scarfed a double quarter pounder of cheese before I got on here. So I'm feeling
You're going to feel disgusting in the morning. Congrats. That's fantastic.
I've been doing pretty good on my diet lately, but no, the game was just of course, the whole game was frustrating. They kept hitting threes on us. It was the revenge game kind of thing. But, it was crossing my mind. Where's Lively at? Is he just – okay, maybe he's coming in the last 6 minutes of the game. Maybe they just didn't want to get him in foul trouble or his three-point defense. I don't know, but that was confusing. But when Luka went nuclear and had 4 threes in the last few minutes of the game, I mean, it was crazy. I was sitting in 105, row B, and the fans around – everybody was nuts. And, I'm going to try to hear the game tomorrow. I'm going to listen to it back because I was around some fans. We were heckling Ben Simmons. Every time he got the ball, we were wanting him to shoot it. We're like, we dare you, shoot it. We're just trying to get the Nets to like make a bad play, you know. But that was a fun game. Hardaway was, I pretty much lost my voice just from yelling at him. I swear, I mean, I love him. He had 19 points tonight, but if he would have made some of those shots, those other ones, he would probably have had like 32, you know. But, you know, Luka once again had to bail us out. It is what it is. We are going to lose some games this year because of our defense. I mean, I'm hoping that I know Dexter Dennis is on a two-way deal, but I would like to see him out there just for defensive purposes. I mean, you think
I want to see Omax out there for defensive purposes.
I don't know. We do have this bench we could dip on, but I'm just like thinking. I'm just like, man, we're doing this old stuff with Dwight. I mean, Dwight Powell made a three tonight. I haven't seen him make a three since Rick Carlisle was the coach.
I mean, it might be the case. He didn't make one at all last year.
Yeah, it has to be at least 2 or 3 seasons. But you know, we still have Tim Hardaway Jr. How long did he play in that second half? It was like the entire fourth quarter. It seemed. Didn't it?
Felt like he had 30 minutes of run. He played a lot.
I just don't get why can't we have the luxury to Kyrie can be on the floor or Luka can be on the floor. They can both be on the floor. Just try out these other guys. I mean, because on defense, we still gave up. I don't really know what the score is. I mean, I left the game. What was it, like 132 or something?
Then to a 125, 120.
Okay, but so we still gave up 120 points.
Yes.
I mean, it was that 3-point defense, but yeah, I don't really know what to say. It was just a good win. It feels good. Rangers win tonight.
Yeah.
You know, we got the Grizzlies. We actually have a pretty decent schedule. Grizzlies aren't that great right now with John Moran.
It's going to be a knife fight. They are 0-2. They lost to the Nuggets. That game's going to be rough and tumble.
I really just feeling that the way the season was last year and how we're starting out now, we are healthy. Luka's healthy, thank God. That we're going to start the season out pretty damn good.
I feel good so far. I'm nervous about it, but I would rather be nervous and winning than nervous and losing.
Yeah, at least ESPN will start acknowledging, which I really don't care what ESPN thinks, but
I like starting quiet. I like not being the center because expectations only make, when you don't meet those expectations, all you do is go down. So everybody thinks the Mavericks are Garbo right now. So if they get
every episode of NBA Today, and I swear to God, since the season start or before the season, there hasn't been one mention of the Mavericks in well over a month.
That's okay.
They're not mentioning Luka or Kyrie at all. I'm like, okay, I guess we'll be under the radar. Let's rack up some wins early instead of the last previous seasons where we're putting ourselves in a hole where we're like 10-12, start the season. So, but let some other guys come up. I'm just glad we got this win, and hopefully let's keep this rolling.
All right, man. Talk soon. Drive safe tomorrow.
All right, thanks, Kirk.
All right. Okay, coming up next. Let's see here. We got all sorts of folks. We're going to go, and if you run up against a notification when you try to join the waiting room that it's filled, just try again in a little bit. So I'm going to go to my guy Jared next. Jared, I think it has been quite a long time since you joined the show. How is it going?
Not bad. Yourself?
I am delighted. Thank you for joining us tonight.
There's a couple of things that I wanted to point out. Like, in tonight's game, Curry was 2 of 7 from layups, like 29%. And 4 of 10 in the paint. You're not going to get too many nights like that with Kai.
Yeah.
The non-Luka Mavs was 6 of 22 from 3, so 27%. And teams that have shot over 48% with at least 23s were 52-3 last season.
So to give you guys a little bit more math there, you heard this. So Jared just pointed out that non-Luka Mavs shot 22%. From 3.
No, 6 of 22, 27%.
6 of 22. Sorry, 27%. So Luka's makes alone made the Mavericks percentage point from 3 go from 27% to 42%.
And yeah, the Nets shot 48% and hit 21 threes, and teams that shot over 48% with at least 23s last season were 52-3.
Wow.
So to get a win against somebody shooting that well is rare, and everybody else seemed to play horrible. So
they really did. I didn't record, and I'm writing about the game, right? And I have all these notes. I have about 800 words a copy. And then Josh Bowe and I started podcasting. I'm like, well, we need to lead with Luka, and then we'll lead with other good stuff. And then I got past Luka, and I'm like, there's nothing else good. This was
No.
it was bleak.
Yeah, that defensive possession you watched at the end of the last show, like Tim Hardaway Jr. doesn't know what he's doing on defense. It's like
It's
two people
amazing.
pointing at him where to go. He's facing the wrong direction. He's got no idea.
That was so funny. Yeah.
So, yeah, the positive is that is about as bad as you could imagine most of the Mavericks playing. And to come out with a win against a team who was hot from three, even though you should beat that team with no Nick Claxton and no Cam Johnson, still, you've got to look at the positive in that, like last year we lose that game pretty much every time.
Yeah.
This year to come out with a win, even with what it took from Luka, like at least they held it together at the end.
That's right. Jared, thank you so much. You got anything else?
No, that's about it.
All right, you're the man. Talk soon.
Cheers.
Okay, coming up next, I'm going to bring my guy Brandon up. Brandon is a oft recurring guest from last year. He and I sometimes do have some internet slowness between the two of them. So between the two of us. So I'm probably going to not talk so much and let Brandon cook. My friend, how are you tonight? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Kirk, can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
I got a new computer, so hopefully that speeds my voice up.
We had my guy Austin on the other night, and it was like his computer was from 1992. So these things happen. I don't know what it is. It's software. So one thing I will tell people is that if you ever have a hard time joining, it works just as well through the phone. So, all right, talk to me. What are you thinking?
Kirk, man, that was me that mentioned up the defense earlier on your earlier show. And while watching the game, I was like, man, they're just getting cooked on the inside and the outside. They were getting hit by threes, and then they were, getting cooked in the paint too. So I kind of wonder, kind of like I said, I kind of wonder how much that goes back to coaching them, because when they were getting slashed on, it was like three defenders in the paint. They were just like when Spencer got that dunk in the first quarter, it was just like cakewalk to them guys. And I kind of wonder if it goes back to coaches not really emphasizing the weaknesses in what they see, or if it's just like kind of like you said, those guys are just so accustomed to playing NBA ball, it's kind of hard to adjust.
I think they need more time together. I think they need film study, because a lot of these things when guys are out of place, sometimes it's because they make wildly bad decisions. Other times it's like what Josh and I talked about Josh Green maybe being a step or two off where he's supposed to be. And that causes like a cascade failure. So I think that if they get more time and they get more communication between them, and that's the thing you can always see is like they're chattering more, which is good because you want to know, all right, I made the mistake, my bad, I'll do this. They know what their assignments are. They have to execute. And the Nets ran, very much a 5-out scheme, and they 5-out and they just drove all over the place. And it was good to see some people really step up and try, like Luka, which is quite fascinating. And then other guys just get burnt, like they're burnt toast. So it's a little column A, a little column B. The coaching emphasis, it's like how much you probably don't want, like, as much as it frustrates us to see kid not coach in game, there's certain things you can't take care of during the game. It's like we have to get together, look at this as a team on tape and say, all right, I made the mistake. This is what I need to do. And that's the sort of stuff I think they figure out over time.
Yeah. And another thing, man, I hate being a Debbie Downer, but another thing is I noticed once again, Dallas, they kind of got out rebounded. That's been kind of the common theme, if you think about it, for a while. Dallas getting out rebounded, not getting a lot of offensive rebounds. And once again, Luka's primarily getting the rebounds and another person, think about last year, it was Luka and another person that always got most of the rebounds. And same thing tonight. They only have 40 rebounds, whereas, the Nets had, maybe like 44, but that's still more. And, with them being, being a younger team, I'm hoping that Lively and some more guys can kind of, take that next step to fill that gap and, get more offensive rebounds too.
Well, I mean, Lively's a big part in that. Offensive rebounds are also something that I think teams undervalue. I hope the Mavericks continue to push it, but when Lively's only going to play far fewer minutes than he did the other night, they're going to get fewer offensive boards. I mean, they grabbed 8 tonight. It was the Nets grabbed 10 themselves. I mean, it's. I think we need a few more games, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, and just one more thing, man. That the West is so young. It's like when the talent in San Antonio and Houston start gelling, I'm hoping that Dallas does as well, because those guys are young and raw. And once that talent starts gelling, they could be like, kind of like maybe Sacramento or, a lot of people are predicting Orlando to take that next step.
Maybe.
Because they're so young. So I'm hoping that
Rockets have looked bad. Like, they've looked unbelievably dark. But the Spurs, man, the Spurs look feisty.
They are. I'm just hoping that Dallas could take that next step. And, Kidd being an offensive, guru, I'm hoping that he could really teach those guys how to play.
See, this is tough because I think Kidd is an offensive savant. I don't necessarily know if he can teach them offense because to him, offense just happened. He was a one-man fast break. Like, how do you explain something? Like, how do you explain something that comes so natural to a guy like him?
That's a good point, but I think about it like this: he wasn't a terrible 3-point shooter, but he wasn't the best either. You know what I mean?
He got better. He used to. I mean, they used to call him Asen Kid because he didn't have a J.
He didn't have a J up in him, and kind of. I don't know. I think stuff like that, like talent, you can't teach. Like those passes, this highlight reels, you can't teach that. But I don't know. But I'm just hoping that some of that good talent rubs off on those guys. But I think the West is going to be fun.
Hey, we're 2-0 though. So if it's everything, I told the team during the offseason, I kind of was preaching, give me those first 10 games and give me 6-4. You give me 6-4, that's a 60% win percentage over the course of the year. That's like 50. What is 60% of 82? I should know this math.
Probably about 60.
It's 50 games. It's 50 games. If they win 50 games, no, that can't be right. Whatever. Who cares? 49 games. I don't care. You win 49 games, I'm going to be freaking ecstatic because these are the games they didn't win last year, particularly after January 1st. And so if, some of the things we were wondering, like, can Lively play at all? Yes. Can how do Kyrie and Luka work together? So far, hard to say, but they've won 2 games, and I think they actually work great. Like, some of the questions that we had are not as pressing as before. And so if you're winning games while answering those questions, that makes suffering some of the losses later on a little more palatable. Because, like, do you remember when we lost the opening game last year because Kidd played JaVale? And it's just like there were at least 15 games where I'm like, why did Jason Kidd do that thing? And so it's like you win 3 or 4 of those at the end of the year, it matters. So,
and just one last thing, and think about this. I'm like, I wonder if he primarily put Tim out there to load this box score to give them a lead, that first game. And if he's kind of like, Tim, you're going to be the guy to give us so many points, to give us, a boost in the first quarter, second quarter. You're going to fall off that second half, but we need some type of scoring. I wonder if that's his job. Kind of like West, they expect him to hit so many threes, and that's it. If Tim is kind of that guy where he's just going to be the person to get the engine started.
I also think Tim's out there. It's like trade bait where it's like, hey, look at this Tim Hardaway. He looks fantastic. And the problem is he's shooting 35% from the floor. So, all right, my friend. Thanks so much for joining. You got anything else?
That's it. Thank you, Kirk.
All right, we'll talk soon.
All
right. Let's go next to Simon. Simon, how's it going?
Hey, can you hear me, Kirk?
I can. You sound great. What's going on?
Yeah. Well, I don't have my camera on because
that's okay.
What time is it here on the East Coast? Almost 1 a.m.
Sure.
I waited this long, but I'm glad to be in.
I'll try to prioritize my East Coast guests.
Don't worry.
That.
Hey, it's all good, man. It's all good. So I'm just trying to, I'm a little tired, so I'm trying to collect my thoughts. A couple of things.
Did you have fun?
Oh, it was a hell of a game. Very, very, very entertaining game. Very fun game to watch. Except for, is it just me or does Jason Kidd just seem intent on playing lineups that he knows are going to infuriate Mavericks fans?
It's tough because you want him to experiment and find stuff, but then there's
and that worked and that worked 2 years ago because eventually toward the end of that year they did find the right combinations. But last year, they lost so many games early in the season when they just didn't have that margin for error. And
right.
And the West is going to be just as tight this year, where you start Derrick Jones Jr. in back-to-back games for what? What are you going to see from Derrick Jones in a game that you're not seeing in training camp, that you're not seeing in practice, that you're not seeing in the preseason, that you're going to put him out there in the starting lineup and he's going to show you something that you didn't know, like you thought he didn't have. I mean, I don't understand. And then in the fourth quarter, oh my God, they had Maxey and Dwight out there in the same lineup. And then I think it was, you probably can remember, I think they had Kyrie, Dwight, Maxey, Josh, and Tim. What kind of freaking lineup is that? That he's like, what is that? Can you explain?
I don't have a good answer for you because Derek Jones was like the last dude we signed. And for him to be a starter makes me feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
He's a minimum player.
Yeah. I mean, I think he has a role. I didn't think it would be this role.
Yeah, I mean, his role is like when Grant and like when Grant can't go, he's like kind of the next man up. But when all the other forwards are healthy and available, he really shouldn't see the court. Now I got to get this off my chest.
Let's hear it.
Tim Hardaway Jr. All right. And I know I'm not the first guy to come on tonight to vent about Hardaway, but I just really have a particular distaste for the way that guy plays basketball. Now, I'm sure like most people listening have played basketball at some level or played pickup, and like that one guy who, like as soon as it touches his hands, like, that's going up. There are times when like Tim Hardaway gets the ball, like when he crosses half court, you just know it's going up. You don't even have to all right.
You ever see that gif of that fat dude shooting 3-pointers and all he's doing is hitting like the top of the glass and it looks like that's what his shots look like when he's off. It's like honestly, kills
the
me.
Thing is, but the ironic thing is like even when he's making shots, I like him even less because then that gives him the gumption to then go and shoot more because he's hit a couple, and it's just like
that's right.
Like it's almost like I'm rooting for him to miss so that Jason Kidd can mercifully yank him out of the game, so I don't have to sit through this. Like just from my personal experience, like I played junior college basketball, right, where you have a bunch of guys who all they're trying to do is get their stats and get noticed so that they can get to the next level. And I had 5 Tim Hardaways on the court at all times. So it brings back bad memories and it oh my God.
I got the gift of the fat guy shooting. Just so everybody can know what we're talking about. I pulled it up on the screen.
I think one of the earlier guys brought up that one sequence where he missed that floater in transition and then Josh saved it. And like he's like he's got his back to the basket. It just turns like, I mean, there's no rebounders there. Brooklyn's got 3 guys under the basket. There's no. It's like what the hell?
That was a bad YMCA move. I hated it.
I gotta ask you this too, though, like because I was looking at the stats and Brooklyn's 3-point shooting. They shoot 21 of 43. Now, I'm kind of debating myself about this. Is that it did seem like they got really hot from 3, and I don't know if that was just the Mavericks, playing bad defense or
they're built to play like that. They're built to play like that. I mean, like Spencer shooting that was the pain point.
Yeah, Dorian hit 4 threes. If Royce O'Neal, I think, hit 3 in the fourth. I mean, there was a point in the fourth quarter where it didn't seem like Royce O'Neal was ever going to miss another shot. And most of the takeaways from this game, like seems are negative except for the fact that Luka
good. Yeah, no, that's the correct takeaway. Everyone was bad. Luka good, and I hate it that it's that simple, but it really was. I kid you not. The ESPN, I just went to it because I was curious. I was going to pull up the box score because I closed out of it. On the right side of the page, the top headline: Luka special wins it for Mavs, wows everyone. Yes, like that was more or less the gist. Luka good, news at 11. So,
and one more thing is like, the one shot he hit obviously toward the end where he basically shoots a hook shot on the sideline where he banks it in. One of the things I get frustrated with Luka is whenever I see like the videos, and I think Grant Afseth, he does a pretty good job on his YouTube channel of like he posts like the pregame workouts for Kyrie and Luka, and like
he really does
like,
shoot stuff like that. He really does. He screws
he
around.
He does, but it frustrates you because even when he goes through his normal routine, he doesn't look like he's shooting every like regular shot that you would take in a game, like with purpose, as opposed to a guy like Kyrie. When like Kyrie goes through his routine or whatever, it seems like everything he does is purposeful. He goes right hand, left hand. He goes pull up jumper going right, pull up jumper going left, and just kind of alternates. But it all seems like very purposeful. Luke is out there just like he's kind of joking around. He's like slapping high fives, and then like he gets bored and he throws up the like floater where he tries to touch the rafter and then make it. And then you're thinking, what the hell is he doing? But then he goes out in the game and makes a shot like that. Like, I guess there's a method to it. I don't know. I don't know.
We'll see.
I don't know, man. But thanks for letting me in.
Sure. Thanks for staying up late. Talk soon.
Crap out. All right. Talk soon, Kirk.
All right. We got like 5 people left. I'm going to let my guy Ewan go so he doesn't get in trouble with his wife. He's up late. I can tell. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up? We back, baby.
2 in a row. Feels good, right?
2-0, man. 2-0, yeah. Man, I'm not going to talk about Jason Kidd.
Sure.
We have 80 games more to discuss. I'm not going to talk about Tim Hardaway because we know once he put his head down and start to drive, that's like recipe for disaster. I'm not going to talk about that. What I do want to talk about is if you look at Kyrie's reaction to that Luka shot under the basket, he's just like, what the fuck? Like, did that really happen? Like, he's in awe. And, Kyrie played with LeBron. He had to deal with that aura and the awness of LeBron. And now he's playing with someone else, and he's like really seeing it. Like, all the media people that would say, Kyrie's maybe the best player, Luka's not the best player on the team. And that moment, I think Kyrie just had I wouldn't say epiphany, but it's like, yo, like this guy's really, like he's really that good. Like he's really great. You know what I'm saying?
We haven't talked about Kenyon Martin's really interesting comments on that one show, and there's a reason why, because I don't really want to give oxygen to that sort of thing. But I think it's just to sort of talk about it in the context of this game. I think it's hard to explain Luka to people who haven't played with him, because there's a certain I think the French would say je ne sais quoi, like an indescribable thing about him that makes him him. Right. And when you play with him, it's like, oh, okay, I get it. And I mean, Spencer felt that way. You could Spencer kind of talks about it, and I wouldn't shock me if Kyrie does later. It's like Kyrie's one of the greatest basketball players on the planet too. But there's just something there right now when a guy's cooking that you just got to step, because Kyrie's done it. Like, we'll probably see Kyrie do it this year. It's great whenever another guy can watch it and go, oh, okay, I get this now.
Yeah.
Because he didn't really get that experience with those games because they were awful last year when they were together. I mean, the team was bad, but the Mavericks didn't win.
Yeah, true. And you know how, Grant Williams, he was on the opposite end of a lot of those Luka buzzer beaters being a Celtic. So now he's on the opposite side to see what it's like. Now, like you said, you always see it as the opponent, but now you're on the other side. It's like the excitement that comes with the craziness he does. You know what I'm saying? And it's like Spence and Dodo, they see Luka do that to plenty of other teams, but now they're getting it done to them. So I know Dodo is probably like, oh my God, man, you gonna do that to me? Like, you really gonna do that to me? So that was one of the fun parts of the game tonight. And last thing I have to say is just, I know Kyrie might take a while to get warmed up because, he's a little bit on the older side, but it's just, I would like some games where Luka don't got to go bice. He don't got to go, Super Saiyan for us to win. I want a 21-point game,
I think we'll get it. I do. I really do.
Yeah, and Kyrie go off for 35 and Luka just chill. You know what I'm saying? I don't want him to have to continuously have to drop 40.
I don't think he'll
50.
have to. I really do think he'll be better. He'll be okay. I'm not the kind of shots Kyrie's getting are good shots that are not going. And he made a couple in game one, like the twisting fall away layups over big guys, where it's just like, yeah, this dude's a wizard. So it's like once he'll get some, he had a right, No, it was a left-handed layup in the first quarter, not go, where you could tell he was just like, what in the fuck?
Right.
And that just is that was the way the game went. That's all right.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. One more thing. Like towards the end of the game, like 3 minutes left. You know how we spoke on the last recap, but the running up and down, the fast pace. It's like I said, it's always good. It's good for the show. It's good for the eyes. It's good for the fans. And Luka, you could tell that Luka sensed that like the game's getting out of hand now. We're doing too much bad possessions. He got the rebound. He's like, yo, let's calm down. Let's run a play.
That's fine in the fourth. Be the hammer in the fourth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I always loved that part. That part of him is like, when it's time for us to execute, you're gonna need that half court savvy that Luka has and the intelligence that he has. As much as you want to run up and down, you need that, especially for quarter time.
It's midnight, so I got a take that I've been sitting on. Did you watch any of the Bucks game the other night?
With Damon, yeah.
So Dame got 17 free throws and was just a killer. And they did something for Dame that I want to see the Mavericks do for Kyrie, which was set a
screen the half court,
super high screen, and let Kyrie go downhill. Not Luka, Kyrie.
Right.
Let speed and the side to side really help. Because I mean, Dame is a special player. Kyrie's a different kind of player, but Kyrie's like short game, like the 15 foot is murderous when he's got it going. I just want to see something like that.
Yeah, that's good what the Bucks are doing. They pretty much screen for Dame at half court like he's.
I want to see that. Like we get tired of the Mavericks end game stuff where it's like dribble Luka. Give me some of that with Kyrie. Give me some super high screens and like an actual screen, not this horse shit where they all like a screen and people are 12 feet away from one another. Like that's not a screen. That's a switch.
Yeah.
Oh well.
All right, man. Listen, I'm always excited for the wins.
That's right.
Keep it going, baby.
All right. Talk soon, man.
Right. Yes, sir.
Okay, David, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Pretty good. I'm on my phone, so hopefully
looks good.
All right.
Yeah, no, man, it's easy. That's why I keep trying to tell people. It's like you can just hop in here like this.
Yeah, Wi-Fi has been out, so I had to watch the Mavericks game on my phone as well.
Dedication. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah. So, I've been on this Mavericks roller coaster with y'all since like 2019 or so. And it's just, and like, I'll be honest, like at first it was like, oh yeah, like I liked more Locked On because it was, because they were more positive. And then now it's been more like, oh man, like I was calling for the Kirk rage in the summer in the chats. And I was just like, oh man, I did not like our offseason very much. I thought it was okay. But then preseason came and I was like just really, really disappointed. And now I'm like, hey man, you can't go 82-0 if you don't, win the first two. So, so you
weren't happy with the offseason. See, I liked it for once in my life.
The reason I wasn't, I mean, like, look, listening to podcast, like national podcasts.
Where it's like, it feels like it's too little too late for a lot of people. That's, I think, part of it.
Yeah. I think one of the things was like, none of the players that we picked up or anybody that we picked up. I mean, like, I really love, the fact that we have an opportunity in growth in Omax. I was kind of against Lively, but I'm wrong. So he's great. I wanted Cam Whitmer so bad.
It's tough, man. He's staring at us, but it's working out so far.
Yep. And then like really love Grant. So that I was excited about that part of like, hey,
sure.
Lively looks great, everything. But it's like everything else we picked up was like, I think Seth Curry is a redundancy like in our options here. Like I think we already had Tim Hardaway Jr., which obviously we see how he's playing, but
yeah.
Like for me, I was just like, man, like everybody we picked up, everything we got are all backups for if we really want to make a run at this. For the most part, like if we want to make a real actual run, and it's like I know they did the best with what they had, and I'm excited about that, but it's just a roller coaster for me. It's like we played really bad, and then in parts of this game, but we won the game, and being excited about that and seeing Luka just, I mean, I think Luka is going to have a statement year this year because like you start looking at it, like he was been kind of disrespected in the MVP chat, right? Like the who would you start the GM? Who would you start your team with? Kind of.
I mean, there's a lot of people that have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander above him. And I really like Shea. I think he's fantastic, but Luka's done it. It's not like a done it once, like done it repeatedly. and the Thunder have kind of made the playoffs once. And that's not on him. It's part of him, but let's everybody take, like, it's a new thing. I remember this when Luka was the flavor of the month, in his rookie year. It's like eventually everybody becomes the villain. And honestly, I'm surprised that hasn't, I'm surprised that wasn't a bigger narrative coming into the season, but I think everyone was just kind of bored with the Mavericks. And if they're able to be functional, then they go from being that to being interesting.
Yeah. No, I have hope only in the fact that, like, the West is really tough and we have to win the games that we have to win. And I think, like, we need to beat Memphis, but, like, these first 2 games were games we were supposed to win. So, I'll take positives out of it, but, I just can't wait for I hope we don't have to have Rage Kirk later, but, this is great. So I just want to say, awesome podcast.
Thanks so much, man. Appreciate you listening. I love those Locked On guys too. Nick and I hung out a week ago, and I hadn't talked to him in person in a while, and I'm just like, man, I was more bummed out that him and Isaac aren't going to be doing shows together anymore than I would have possibly. It's just kind of weird. So you get oddly emotionally attached to your basketball, to your sports things. So, David, thanks so much for joining. I hope you come back.
Thanks.
All right. Krishna. Actually, you know what? Krishna, you're coming up next, but I got to make my pitch. It's too late in the show, but I should have done it at the 20-minute mark, like Jonathan always tells me to. Please subscribe to the show. Please like this show. Please tell your friends about this show. We're grinding away. I'm hoping to get to 5,000 subs by the end of the year. We gained like 150 the other night, which was pretty cool. So if you guys would do that for me, I'd really appreciate it.
We're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. One of the things I love about Indeed is it makes hiring all in one place so easy and streamlined so I can spend more time on the rest of my business. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences. So the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Just go to Indeed.com/Blue Wire right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Krishna, welcome. What's up, friend? You're muted, I think.
Kirk, how are you? Now you can hear me, right?
I just got real tired, but I'm okay because we're almost done.
Yeah, I'm exhausted. Also, I watched the first half of this game. I had to go do something. I left for a quarter and a half, and I come back, and oh goodness, that
baseball game seemed stressful too.
Both were horrible. I had both of them on, and I was like, okay, I guess we're losing both games tonight. And then the Mavs game ended, and I was basically dead. And then the Rangers game ended, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. This is going to kill me. But it was good. It gives me very reminiscent vibes of the 60-20-10 game, and in the sense of all the frustrations from that game are still there, but you just gotta marvel at like how good this guy is at basketball. Like, it is a ridiculous level. Like, we are seeing, it's almost like the Green Bay Packers where they had Brett Favre and then they got Aaron Rodgers. Like, that's what we've got right now. We just saw Dirk Nowitzki for like 20 years, and now we're getting Luka Doncic, who's somehow better. Like, I love Dirk. Dirk is always going to be special, and like, it's a different quality or qualifier. Like, right, he's just like the first great player in this franchise. Not to say like Mark Aguirre, Rolando Blackman, not great players, but he's the first like legend, and now you're getting this guy right after, like, I don't think it's that fans don't get it, but I feel like sometimes the front office and the ownership doesn't get it. But it's a very, very special thing to have, because so many franchises would bite your hand off to have Dirk Nowitzki and Luka Doncic
right
as your players. But I mean, there's not much to say about this game other than it feels a lot like what we talked about in the preseason. And, I specifically remember this point. I said, it's not that I don't trust these players. I'm just very worried about this coaching. And yeah, I don't think anyone played particularly well. Like I'm a huge Josh Green defender. Most people I think know that, but Josh did not play good tonight. And it feels like he's kind of going back into his shell, though. He's taking shots, which I don't mind, and he's still giving you energy, but he needs to be more productive. I think he would say that also, but I don't know what it is. Like, just, I feel like you start him. Like, I don't understand the lineup calls and the rotation calls. They feel very, it feels like you're trying to play chess and you're playing checkers, like that's what it feels like with Jason Kidd. Is he's trying to, castle, and you're playing checkers, Jason. This is not chess.
That's right.
And he's making things too complicated. And, it feels almost the opposite of what, Jason would have complained about when Rick was his coach, where he would have said, oh, everything is too complicated. I don't need all this stuff. Where Jason is now doing the opposite, where he's making things too complicated when it needs to be simple. And it's a very funny, ironic thing in a way. But look, I'm not going to complain. You need these wins. These were the games that just didn't go for you at all last season. Like, we were horrible in clutch time all season. So it's very good that you can just rely on a guy to hit 4 threes in a row.
That's right.
And get you a win. But it'll be interesting. The Mavs have always, for some reason, played the Grizzlies well. And I think part of it is the Grizzlies they've just never had a great half-court offense. And
no, and it's rough right now. The only thing that's rougher is what's going on in Toronto, which is basketball war crimes. If you've not checked out what they've had, they scored, I think, I'm going to go just pull this up.
103, I think. They scored 103.
The Raptors did?
I think so. They won, but they lost by like a point.
There was something going on in the first half, because I have to check. Yeah, the Toronto scored 35 points in the first half. And then the game went to overtime, and it was 103-104. That's they had 58 minutes of basketball. They scored 103 points. That is like 3 yards in a cloud of dust basketball.
The worst part about that is I'm pretty sure they have like 5 guys on expiring contracts.
But I would take like half their players.
Oh,
yes, you're right.
Like Pascal, OG. I don't know. I think Gary Trent is on. Like, they have like so many guys on it. Masai Ujiri is. I don't know what is going on there, but that's its own problems. And I think it's interesting. I think this defense definitely needs improvement. We saw this even in that 2020. I'm not super worried about it, because I think a lot of that switching and like the communicative stuff, I think it comes with time.
I think so.
And
too.
I think what was more concerning last year was it felt like we just don't have any personnel for it or effort, right? It just felt like no one was putting in effort on the defensive end, where I feel like guys are doing that now. Really the only other concerning thing was I would have said Lively was playing well up to when he was playing.
I think he was playing well.
It feels like a cheap excuse to say, oh, they're going small ball and he wasn't playing well, because I remember vividly this drive. I think it was either Cam Thomas or no, it was Lonnie Walker.
I get Cam Thomas and Cam Johnson confused, which is why I've avoided saying it for almost 2 hours now.
No. I was thinking Lonnie. I was thinking, who was the small point guard that drove? It was Lonnie Walker. He just drove, and it looked like he beat his man, right? I think I don't know who his man was, and Lively is just there and just goes vertical, and he does a great job just stopping Walker. And it's like, yeah, I get they're playing small, but they're going to drive on you. Like, you don't have the perimeter defenders of a Toronto who are long and lanky, but not like big. Yeah, it just felt like a overthinking situation, which. Unfortunately, I think we're going to think about it all week. And it's a very funny contrast, not to get too much into baseball. Bruce Bochy is like the exact opposite. The guy doesn't overthink anything. So it's
a lot of vibes from the other coach.
Yeah. He's been in this position. Like, he's won 3 World Series. And I think it's like his 3rd team to take to the World Series, which I think is a record. Also, like, he's 6-0 in Game 7s, which is like, that is an insane stat, but he's very much like a opposite. he's kind of like I don't know, like the NBA. He's kind of like Donnie Nelson in some ways, where it just feels like Donnie knew what to do and in the moment, like he just figured it out. Like, it's why like he got so many weird teams to perform for no reason.
Yeah,
but we'll take what we'll get. I think not the worst, not the best. Just happy to get a win and get out of here. Honestly,
all right,
just
man.
prepped for Monday.
Well, yeah, Monday. What time does Monday's game start? Because these 7:30 starts make me mad because they're really 7:50 starts. When is that? I need to just
don't get me started. I'm pretty sure it's 7. I saw.
Is it an away game or a home game? Says the guy who is running the podcast.
It is.
If it's an away game, it'll be 7 o'clock.
What the heck? It's not telling me.
That's great. No, it's at the Grizzlies. Yeah, 7 o'clock start time.
Oh.
All right. Yes.
Okay.
We can do this. We can do this.
Yeah, because I saw you and Nick, like 3 Dallas teams are playing that day, which I'm like,
yeah, that graphic was wrong and made me angry. And it's like, did someone make that? Anyway.
No,
whatever.
they are. They're all playing on that day.
Oh, that's the same day. I thought that was today.
No, that's what I thought too. I was like, I know 2 of them are playing. No, they're all playing on Monday.
All right, man. We'll talk soon. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, take care, Kirk. Good night.
We got 2 more folks, and we're gonna go to bed. Partha, sorry to make you wait so long. Thanks for joining the show.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can. Welcome.
Thank you. Geez, I was thinking about what I was trying to figure out what to say the whole time here, and now I have nothing.
That's okay. What did you like? Tell me, what was your favorite play of the game? I'll interview you.
I mean, I just want to start with like Luka is absolutely in like MVP best player in the world form. Like, I think you could see it in the second half when like things started to like feel like it was slipping away a little bit, and like you could see him like getting angry a little bit, like talking to the refs, like flopping around a little bit. But like you really usually don't. We didn't see him all last year make the adjustment coming into a half, being like, okay, lock the fuck in, Yep. Like, and he did like because the team just wasn't good enough for him to want to. I mean, I'm not making excuses, but like you're digging yourself into so deep a hole, it's hard to motivate yourself to come back that hard,
Yep.
And I mean, he's playing as good defense as I think we can expect him to, and he was, sensational tonight. But it feels like, just again what Krishna said, a lot of overthinking from Jason Kidd. And the thing I was most excited about going into this season was that we were almost never blown out last season, right? It was always a close game. We always got to this situation basically, and I thought that we had enough around the margins to where that I didn't think we were gonna like start blowing teams out the way we think that like an easy win should be. I think we're still gonna be in a lot of these games, but
that's
I think
what
we'll
I thought
have
tonight was gonna be. I was wrong.
I know, and I just feel like we just have just enough to where more often than not, those things will kind of scrape out for us just because, at least they should if the best players are on the floor at the same time, which again is not a guarantee with Jason Kidd. Because, I don't remember what the stat was, but it was like in the minutes that they had, it was Luka, Kyrie, Josh, Grant, Derek Lively. It was like a plus 88 or whatever, just an absurd number. And it's just so clear they all work well together, or well enough to where it's clearly the best thing you need to do. So I don't know what's happening there. Truly, I really don't. But also, I think one thing is I really don't know what's going on with Tim Hardaway Jr. Like, even behind the scenes, like what is he even playing for right now? Is it just to see like, ooh, like maybe can I go to Atlanta,
Yeah.
It's just extremely frustrating. Like, because I honest to God, I've been defending Tim all summer. Like, God bless him, he went to war with Luka when nobody else did,
Right.
And it's just like, it's just truly not winning basketball in any sense of the word, like the way he's playing. So it just makes you question like how things are being handled, because obviously he's been dangled every trade deadline for God knows how many years, So it just feels weird. Like this is definitely coming to an end, but not nearly in the way that either party thought it would,
It's really something else. Let me read you what. So this is Tim's final series of I don't know at what point this was, but if you go to NBA.com, you can see kind of like individual stats when you click through.
Right.
When you click through box scores. This is Josh Bose sent me this. Jump shot, missed shot. Driving float, jump shot, missed shot. Running jump shot, missed shot. Jump shot, missed shot. Jump shot,
Brutal.
missed shot. Driving layup shot, missed shot. Pull up jump shot, missed shot. Jump shot, made shot. Driving
Incredible.
floating shot, missed shot. Driving floating jump shot, missed shot. So for those of you who are at home, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He was one of his last 10. That's remarkable. Congratulations, Tim.
Honestly impressive.
Yeah,
that he found a way to keep getting the ball.
Mm-hmm. Well, they just kept like because the willingness to shoot is extremely important. Like when
Yeah,
Josh
definitely.
Green does his like insta pass bullshit, it's really painful. And at least Tim will put up the shot. But my God, oh well. Well, thanks so much for joining. You got anything else?
Yeah. I just think that I just hope to see the best players on the floor at the same time. That's all it is.
Well, man, we'll talk soon, okay?
Yeah, have a good night.
All right, you too. Leo, take us home.
You ready to talk a little bit more basketball, Kirk?
Sure.
So I would just want to pick your brain. What did you think about Luka's substitution pattern? Do you think it's because he hasn't gotten enough practice, or is it more of like we want to try this out? You think
I think it's a new thing, and I hope they keep going with it because I don't like the 12-minute bursts. The goal for him should be to get in Nikola Jokic type shape. Jokic is not particularly fast, but what Jokic did in that finals run was essentially never ever stop. And to get in that kind of cardiovascular shape takes years. It is not something you do overnight. It takes years. So,
and just to kind of go off of that, like how much of Kai looking somewhat like Kai again makes those 4 minutes in the first quarter not feel so horrible?
Oh, it's a completely different ballgame. Like if he's able to look like a reasonable, like he doesn't have to be a superstar, but tonight, like these have been two of the rougher Kyrie performances. He's played great in specific segments, which allowed them to win, but the overall performance, I think everyone would say was kind of
I mean, tonight what saved him was his free throws. He went 1 for 3 in the fourth.
But him being automatic at the free throw line is
That's
simply
nice.
It's so important.
Well, he played the 12-minute quarter for the fourth, which is a bit odd because him and Kai played 11 and 36, Josh played 10:09, and then Tim played 10:04. And then if you want to know the box score for what 10 shots came from, it was 1 for 6 in the fourth. He hit a 3. But I mean, Luka was positive from the free throw line, 8 of 10. Is this an outlier, or maybe free throws are good again? I need something, man.
Well, like what did he shoot tonight from the line?
He was 8 of 10, 80%.
Luka was?
Yes, sir.
Then maybe I'm just remembering the two that he missed very specifically. But okay,
those
I'll
were early
take
in
8
the
of
game.
10. I'll take 8 of 10.
He was 4 of 4 from 3, 4 of 4 from the free throw line. And then everyone else was Kyrie was 4 of 4 from the free throw line in the fourth. Josh was 3 of 4 from the free throw line, and DP was 2 of 2, scoring 11 points in the fourth quarter.
Pretty amazing.
I mean, just to end this and looking forward, if we beat the Grizzlies on Monday, we have two in conference, or is it division, or is it, what do we call it?
You call it division, and division wins are important. The Matt Morris talked about this. It's pretty indicative of how you end up finishing. So getting a lead in the conference would be huge, or a division would be huge.
All right. Again, that's the end. I mean, can you imagine going 4-0 facing the Nuggets trying to fight for the first seed? I prefer this over what we did last year.
Absolutely. All right, man. Thanks for taking us out of here. You too.
Sure.
All right, we've closed out over an hour. Thanks so much for hanging out. Great Dallas Mavericks win. If you want to head on over to MavsMoneyball.com, we've got a number of posts up. Probably not as many as last week, because half our staff was watching the Rangers game, as I instructed them to. I am unfortunately married to a Cardinals fan, and I'm not really a baseball guy, so I couldn't fake and act like I watch baseball. But I'm happy for my Rangers fans' friends. Please like and subscribe. We'll be back on Monday night with a little bit earlier, thank goodness. And, feel free to shoot me an email over at podmaverickpodcast@gmail.com. Shoot me a DM on Twitter. I talk to everybody because basketball should be fun and experienced Together, this has been Kirk Henderson of Pod Maverick and Mavs Moneyball. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and we will talk with you guys soon. Good night, guys. Go Mavs.